first thing that we're going to do is we're going to enforce rule taking. That's going to require just a minor change on the client side so that we can see whose turn it is, and then a change on the server side to check that, first of all, the correct color is being played, and secondly, that the color is being played by the correct socket or the correct player. So let's start by looking at main.js and just make a simple change so that we can see whose turn it actually is. Okay, so let's see. To do that, I'm going to go to the place where we indicate that what our color is. So here's the variable, my color, where we keep track of what our color is, what the client's color is, because we're in main.js, we're talking about clients. Down here, after we get a game update from the server, which means we're being given the state of the board, we pull out of that game state the socket ID of the player who's white, and if that's equal to our socket ID, then we must be white. If that socket ID is equal to our ID, and if the black player's socket is equal to our ID, then we must be black. And then finally, if there's some kind of other problem, such as our socket ID doesn't match the white or the black player, then we kick the player back to the lobby to start over. Now, if everything goes okay, then we have gone ahead and put this indication that about what our color is in the root of our HTML. And then what we're going to do is we are going to add another little bit right after this where we also append onto my color, but instead of putting information that erases the previous information, we're going to go ahead and append some data to that. And what we're going to append is a new bit of information saying whose turn it is. And so we'll use H4, a slightly smaller headline indication, and we will say it is single quote plus, and we'll pull off whose turn it is from what the server told us. So payload.game.whose_turn plus single quote. Now I'm going to make it look like it's an apostrophe, like it's possessive. So I'll do escape / single quote s. So it'll be like whites or blacks space turn, and then we'll close out the H4 tag. And that's all I want to do on the server side, so we get an update about whose turn it is. And then on the client side, and then I want to go to the server side as well. So let me open up server-side code. Okay, now we're editing server.js. The place where we're going to check whether or not the correct token has been played is in the play token message that we get from the client. So we'll go to where we play the token, go to the top of it. Here's our play token command. And as we go through and we evaluate what the client sent us, we first check to make sure that a payload was actually sent. We check to make sure that that player is known to us, that the socket ID that just sent us data has been joined the lobby beforehand. We then check to make sure that that particular socket has a username and that particular socket has a room. We then are going to check whether there's a row and column present for that and whether those row and columns are valid numbers for that turn that's being taken. Then we're going to check that the player color is present and valid so that the player has some sort of assigned color. Then we're going to get our game state that we're keeping locally within our server on the server side data structure and make sure that that's present, make sure there's no error there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the color that is being played is what should be the color that's being played. So we're going to ask if the color that we just identified coming in from our payload that we set this variable to, if that's not equal to the game state and whose turn it is in the current game state, so someone's trying to play a color out of turn, then we're just going to make an error message, and I'm going to grab this code from right above. I'm going to paste it in there, and I'm going to say error play token. Let's see, make it say message played out of turn, end it with a single quote and a semicolon. We'll log that error message so that we'll get it on the server side, and the server will send it to the client. And then we'll play a token response, which is a failure message, and we'll send them the error message in response. And then we'll close out that if statement. All right, then we're going to make a copy of that, and we're going to paste that in there. And so let's just put a comment up here, and that says, if the current attempt at playing a token is out of turn, then error. Okay, but what we're going to do here is we're going to say if the wrong socket is playing the color. So our condition that we're going to check is going to be twofold. We're going to have an and statement in between it. And the first thing that we're going to ask is the game, if the game turn should be white, so if we're expecting to play white, then we're going to check if the game's a record of the white player's socket is equal, or in this case I'm writing not equal, but what we care about is that they match. So we're saying there's going to be an error if it is white's turn to play, but the white player is not sending, the player that we have recorded as being the white player is not the player that's actually sending us the message. So if that's the case, then we're going to have an error. We will also have a case if we have the black equivalent. So if game.whoseTurn is black, I just copied the line above it, and game.player black.socket not equal to socket ID, then we have an error. And what's our error going to be? Well, it's going to be play token turn played by wrong player. And if that happens, then we'll send it back. All right, let me just clean this up a little bit. Boom. And boom. Let's see if that looks good. And I'm going to go ahead and make these triple equals just so that I'm checking the type and the content of it as well. And let me just take a look and make sure everything looks good there. And yeah, that looks like everything's all set. So what I think I'll do then is I will just give it a shot and see how we do running it here. Just checking the error condition. Come over here and we will start our server. And we will go to our name page. And we will enter our lobby. And we will launch a game. And we can see I am black, but it is white's turn, and I am white, and it is white's turn. And not sure why these guys didn't fade in. That's a little funny. But we can see that we can play everywhere around here. And so go ahead and play a white token. That's good. And then over on black side, we can play black token. But now that it's white's turn, let's see, make sure that if I hit a black token, something goes wrong. Great. Play token, message played out of turn, and nothing got centered. Okay, so that's what we wanted to see. I just realized that we had one other thing that we had to fix. That according to the official Reversi rules, black goes first. So that's going to be in our create new game. If we scroll down to whose turn it is, we just need to switch from white to black when the game is first started. Otherwise, everything should be good to go. We have the server enforcing whose turn it is, and the only thing that's happening is we get an alert on the client side when that happens, and then the play can't continue. All right, that's all I want to do for this chunk. Next chunk, we'll take the next step in doing our rule enforcement. Thank you.